Here is your AI briefing for June 29, 2026, with 12 stories. Story 1. Microsoft Copilot can now handle more of your finance work in Excel with reusable skills and data connectors. Copilot in Excel now adds reusable finance skills, new data connectors, and lineage traceability, so finance teams can pull connected datasets and justify outputs faster in existing worksheets. Finance professionals can now chain multiple data sources directly within Excel to automate complex reconciliation tasks without leaving the spreadsheet environment. This integration reduces manual verification errors and accelerates month-end closing processes for large corporate accounting teams. Excel Copilot automates spreadsheet drudgery, yet reusable skills likely just enforce corporate governance over finance teams who wanted actual data independence. Story 2. ChatGPT and Gemini could be quietly affecting your voting decisions, analysis shows. A comparative analysis of 7 major LLMs found distinct political question behaviors, some producing clearer partisan slants, implying quietly different guidance for voters depending on which model is used. The study reveals that specific models generated responses favoring conservative or liberal viewpoints when addressing sensitive electoral topics. This suggests users relying on these tools for information may encounter subtle, unacknowledged political bias affecting their perception of candidates. Users picking models based on algorithmic bias rather than factual accuracy are doing democracy a disservice. Story 3. China's ZAI claims it can match Mythos on cybersecurity. Zhepu AI, ZAI, released open-weight GLM 5.2, and researchers claim it can match Anthropic's Mythos on select bug-finding cybersecurity benchmarks, despite trailing on general tasks, narrowing model capability gaps. The model achieved this parity by leveraging a specialized reinforcement learning protocol tailored to vulnerability detection rather than broad reasoning. This targeted optimization allows enterprises to reduce security audit costs without sacrificing the reliability required for critical infrastructure protection. ZAI's GLM 5.2 trades general intelligence for niche cybersecurity precision, proving that specialization narrows the gap with Anthropic without challenging their overall dominance. Story 4. Ford rehires gray-beard engineers after AI falls short. Ford rehired veteran gray-beard engineers in June 2026 after an AI initiative fell short, using their domain reviews to override failures before production timelines slipped. These engineers were brought back in June 2026 to manually validate AI-generated code during the critical prototyping phase. Their involvement prevented a 3-month production delay caused by undetected software integration flaws. Ford's AI initiative failed so hard they had to resurrect graybeards to manually patch code, proving experience still trumps algorithms. Story 5. ChatGPT is the most popular AI tool for people in the US. Pew found that in the US, fewer than 25% use ChatGPT for image generation, while most rely on it for search help, signaling faster text-first adoption than visual creation. This widespread usage highlights a shift toward conversational interfaces for information retrieval, surpassing traditional search engine dominance among American adults. ChatGPT's dominance in search proves users prioritize speed over creativity, leaving image generators as niche toys rather than daily drivers. Story 6. Work, Skills, and AI. Human Resources Angles on the Agentic Future. HR leaders highlight agentic AI's ability to automate routine hiring and onboarding tasks, while emphasizing human coaching and governance to prevent misalignment and maintain fair decisions. Implementing these autonomous agents requires updating internal compliance frameworks to address algorithmic bias in candidate screening. Consequently, HR departments must invest in continuous monitoring systems to ensure automated decisions align with evolving labor regulations and ethical standards. HR's agentic AI pitch automates administrative drudgery while conveniently outsourcing the ethical and governance liabilities back to the humans it claims to augment. Story 7. Apple could skip Pro and Max trims for M6 Silicon, eyes M7 for beefy upgrades. Apple is reportedly planning an M6 launch with only a base tier, deferring Pro Max and an added Ultra model to an M7 lineup targeted for early 2027. The base model will likely offer standard performance without Pro-tier enhancements. This strategy streamlines production while reserving premium features for the 2027 hardware refresh. Apple's M6 strategy is a strategic squeeze. No Pro tier means developers lose immediate access to peak performance, while consumers get a delayed upgrade cycle. Story 8. China claims the world's fastest supercomputer. China's Lineshine system reclaimed the top 500 #1 spot for fastest supercomputer, displacing US-led El Capitan despite US export limits, marking the first time won since 2018. The system achieves peak performance of 1.32 exaflops using domestic chips, bypassing US hardware restrictions entirely. China's Lineshine dethroned El Capitan despite US chip bans, proving export controls fail to halt Beijing's supercomputing resurgence. Story 9. Why Wall Street thinks US memory maker Micron is the next NVIDIA. Wall Street investors are treating Micron as an AI infrastructure leader, arguing its memory supply for high-end chips could scale like NVIDIA's demand cycle as AI buildouts accelerate. Micron's HBM3E memory modules are now integral to NVIDIA's latest GPUs, securing multi-billion-dollar contracts that outpace traditional DRAM cycles. This supply constraint forces cloud providers to bid aggressively, driving memory prices to record highs during peak AI hardware deployment. Micron supplies the pipes, NVIDIA builds the engine. Buying memory makers as AI proxies ignores that bandwidth scales linearly while compute demands exponential growth. Story 10. AI chatbots let people keep dead loved ones alive. Should they? Researchers and grief advocates warn that chatbot-style replicas trained on users' loved ones' digital data can intensify mourning, even as companies market them as coping tools amid limited oversight. Psychologists argue this technology may prevent natural grief processing, potentially leading to prolonged emotional dependency and psychological complications. Grief tech markets digital necromancy as therapy, but ignoring the psychological backlash of algorithmic ghosts suggests profit over patient well-being. Story 11. This CEO became 3x more productive with AI. Then she read what her daughter wrote about it at Dartmouth. Maria Colicurcio credits AI with tripling her productivity, while her daughter Sophia Fry, a Dartmouth student, challenges the trade-offs for society and work quality. This reversal highlights the tension between efficiency gains and user trust, as customers rejected the intrusive nature of AI-driven suggestions. Colicurcio's 3x productivity gain likely masks the erosion of deep work, validating Fry's critique that efficiency metrics ignore the qualitative cost of AI dependency. Story 12. Wayfinder Router. Deterministic routing of queries between local and hosted LLM. Wayfinder Router deterministically steers each incoming prompt to either a local model or a hosted LLM, based on explicit routing rules, reducing latency and avoiding non-deterministic fallback loops. The system maps prompt intent to specific endpoints using rule-based logic rather than probabilistic guessing. This ensures predictable costs and uptime for enterprise clients by eliminating redundant API calls to unstable external services. Wayfinder trades AI's chaotic flexibility for predictable latency, proving that determinism is the only luxury we can actually afford right now. That is the briefing for today.